What do we know about the 1,000-year reign? Well, we know that Israel will be the only superpower of the world, flourishing and prominent, the leading nation in all the earth. That's in Isaiah 2 and Ezekiel 17. The citizens of earth will acknowledge and submit to the lordship of Jesus. It will be the time of perfectly administered and enforced righteousness on the earth. Isaiah records that in chapter 2. And chapter 3, verse 3. Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, so that he may teach us about his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For the law will go out from Zion, and from the word of the Lord from Jerusalem, and he will judge between the nations, and he will mediate for many peoples. Well, during the millennial reign, there will be no war. Now, not the end of conflict, because we, as his body, his people, will be given responsibility to enforce judgment. Well, if there's judgment, that means there's got to be conflict. It just means that the people will not be at war with one another, and we, as God's people, will sit on thrones of judgment to administer his justice. The people will still need to trust Jesus in all of his work on their behalf for their personal salvation during the millennium. It is not a foregone conclusion that everyone will be destined for heaven born in the millennial reign. During the millennial reign, there will be no danger with the animals. Isaiah 11:6 talks about the wolf dwelling with the lamb, the leopard lying down with the young goat, cow and the bear will graze together, the lion will eat straw like an ox, a nursing child will play by the hole of cobras. There will be no more concern for the wild animals. And if you remember in previous messages, one of the ways that death was brought about on earth as part of the judgment was wild animals. The attacks were going to increase and become a factor in reducing the population of the earth. Something else we know is that King David will have rule. We're not sure, because I've seen it both ways, to where he will rule as a king, but I also see him listed as a prince, which the prince thing makes sense when you have Jesus as king. Maybe David is given a prominent role as a leader, as a prince, maybe over Jerusalem, or I don't know, I'm not going to go there. But we see that David will have a prominent role in ruling. There will be prosperity, blessing, security for the nation of Israel. We see that in Amos. We also see it in Zechariah when, I think it's chapter 3, to where Zechariah is talking about how prominent Israel will be, so much so that it will not need a wall to defend it. It will just be expanding beyond the wall of protection. It will be a time of purity and devotion. We're going to see the temple will be rebuilt. The temple will serve as a reminder of God's work in the past. It's not going to have a whole lot of significance beyond that. It will be a remembrance of God's activity in Israel's life. The saints in their resurrected state will be given responsibility in the millennial earth according to their faithful service. And there's several verses listing there. On the other end of the spectrum, the millennium will, it's important, it will reveal both the depths and the depths of man's rebellious nature. One time asked, when was man's most evil time? And the question, I see it, is going to be during the millennial reign. There's been, to have somebody go bad, you start looking at things about their life, their upbringing, their economic or social status. Well, you can't blame the kid. Look at the life that he was brought up in. During the millennial reign, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be completely the best possible situation to be involved in, to be raised in. And yet, when Satan comes out after 1,000 years, there's going to be so many people rebelling against God that they're going to be counted like the sand on the seashore. Why? It's not because of their upbringing. It's not because of their financial or economic status. It's not going to be because of abuse or anything in their past. It's just going to be the rebellious nature in man's heart. So if you want to ask me when the most evil time, there you go. Evil is going to be displayed out of mankind's heart, in spite of being raised in the light and the glory and the perfection of Jesus Christ. There's still going to be so many people that are going to rally with Satan to try and overcome Jesus. And the millennium is important because it will display the eternal depravity of Satan himself, who continues his evil as soon as he's released from his incarceration. To quote Spurgeon, "Let us rejoice that Scripture was so clear and so explicit upon this great doctrine of the future triumph of Jesus over the whole world. We believe that the Jews will be converted and that they will be restored to their own land. We believe that Jerusalem will be the central metropolis of Christ's kingdom. We also believe that the nations shall walk in the light of the glorious city which shall be built at Jerusalem. We expect that the city which shall have its center there shall spread over the whole world, covering it as a sea of holiness, happiness, and delight. For this we look with joyful expectation."